set up to record, and we are ready. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good to go.
All right, you guys. Well, thank you for joining us. We have Miss Ellen Keenan, Parker, and Krista Schrader. So we've been kind of talking over the last couple weeks, and I've noticed each of you are kind of doing something different, whether it be a different social media platform or just different types of content. And I feel like all three of you guys are doing a really awesome job at it. So I wanted to ask you guys a few questions, and if you're watching along with us, feel free to chime in if you have any questions in the meantime. But at the end, we'll open it up for just an open Q&A. So first things first, I wanted to ask you guys, what is your preferred platform or your number one platform that you're getting results on right now? And what do those results look like? What does that conversion look like for leads? So we'll start with Parker.
So for me, I guess it's if we're strictly talking social media, I would definitely say Facebook first, just personally. Because what I've noticed is like I committed to starting to do a lot more on social media on my personal page. And I started to be very surprised by how many people I've had. I know everybody has friends on Facebook, right? That maybe you knew in high school vaguely, or maybe a friend of a friend, and those types of people that, just through me promoting my real estate on my personal page and sharing stories that I've had with previous clients, a lot of the people don't even necessarily engage with the things that I'm putting out there, but they message me and say, hey, I'm thinking about buying a house, and I never really had interactions with them before. So that's definitely my primary. I have 3 active buyers right now that are from Facebook specifically.
Okay.
But I would say that that's more of just your personal page is a bit more conventional, but from strictly cold leads, people that I don't know, definitely TikTok.
Awesome.
And I have 1 active buyer from TikTok right now that's looking 150. And then I have four prospective leads that are looking to buy in the spring.
Awesome. Fantastic. Thanks, Parker.
Yeah.
Ellen, how about you?
Yeah, definitely Facebook, for sure. Going back with that, just because you've been on Facebook for so long that your friends just know that you're an agent, when you post stuff and etc. However, with my Instagram, my name is Ellen Keenan Realtor. So in that sense, a lot of people they see all that collaborated together. And so for me, that's kind of been where I get leads from. They Instagram messaged me, and just as yesterday, I got 3 new leads out of nowhere. But my girlfriend, she's been like, my friends love your page. They've been checking you out. They're looking to sell a house in Richland area. I'm looking in Dalton and Hickory Corner, so that I just got that. And then my past client, she follows me and she's like, I sent you to my girlfriend who I don't really know, but I went to high school with her. She's selling her mom's house, so she's calling me later today. So it's just having that name collaborated and all together. That's just where I would go.
Fantastic. All right, Krista, how about you? What is your number one platform for generating leads, and what are your results and conversion? What does that look like?
Yeah, so I'm Facebook too, but it's also on another level where it's more like Facebook groups and then Facebook pages.
Okay.
With Facebook groups, I've actually found the group does better than the page, I'll be honest. And it's because it's such a select group of people. They are all local because the group itself is Portage and my mom's squad. It's a group, and this is how it was kind of taught to me by a realtor in Florida. Her name was Nikki Klein. You have to kind of find people and then find their problems and bring a solution to them. So moms have a lot of problems throughout the day, and they're trying to connect with people, and they're trying to find out what crafts they should do with their kids. I mean, during the pandemic, there was a lot of what are you doing with your kids, and things like that. So it's kind of like providing a place for them to come congregate. And then I also chose people who were community influencers to become admins or moderators on the group with me. So they had their own databases, because personally, I have never actually like lived here. I like moved here back in like, I think it was 2014. So I didn't have a big community circle of people that actually knew me here. So I like, one person's like a pastor's wife, for example, she's got a database. They have a whole like church of people. So they all added their people in. I think we're up to like 550 or something like that right now. And there is like questions for them to even get into the group. And one of the questions they have to answer to get into the group is, do you currently live in Portage or are you moving here? And I tell my moderators that I filter those. So I'm the one in charge of letting people in. And if I see that they're moving here, I message them right away. And I say, hey, I'm the admin, welcome to the group. Here's the page that you can follow for Portage if, you're moving here, and do you need help looking for a house? I actually happen to be a realtor too. And I have actually gotten a lot of people that way. We've gotten people on the page, but that one is not as successful as like the smaller group. So being hyper local has actually been very helpful. And I would say I probably got like 4 deals this year from that, and we're still developing it, but 4 deals from that this year. And then I also have like probably 10 like people that I'm working on that are planning on moving out here.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So, let's see here. What is your guys' inspiration for creating your content? So Parker, we'll start with you. Like I know a lot of people have been seeing like your TikToks. So like, is this just something that comes to you naturally?
So TikTok's a really interesting platform because unlike pretty much any other platform that exists, like YouTube is search based generally. Facebook, generally only people that you're friends with are going to see your content. Same thing with Instagram, people that follow you, you'll get a little residual from hashtag and things like that. But with TikTok, the algorithm is such that in the way the platform works is that you go on the app and you spend your time scrolling the For You page, and the For You page will basically show you content that you're interested in relative to other things that you watch on the app. And the people that are seeing your content more often than not aren't people that are following you or have interacted with you ever before, which is a really unique thing about TikTok.
Right.
So it's kind of hard to explain if you're not on the app, but one of the big inspirations for content is there's a lot of different challenges and effects with the videos that people post on TikTok that trend. So if you go to the Discover page on TikTok, or if you're scrolling for your For You feed, you will see that there's challenges that people do that go viral, and then you can adapt that challenge or that specific
Hang on one second, Parker. You got muted.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep. Can you repeat?
Okay, yeah. So a lot of inspiration comes from that. Another thing too is, I mean, obviously we're all in the real estate niche. So if you get onto the TikTok platform, what you can do is you can look at other realtors that have been successful on the platform and kind of see what they're doing. And what I've noticed, because I had one video that went bonkers, and that's kind of the viral nature of the platform. I think it's got 150,000 views and several thousand comments and tens, I think like 15,000 likes on the video. And it was totally spontaneous, and it was a property walkthrough tour. And it basically said something to the effect of what you can buy in Michigan for $120,000. And it was just a walkthrough tour that I did on my phone and my gimbal. And TikTok actually tracks people's location. That's part of their algorithm. So people from Kalamazoo were stumbling across my video. So that's how I was able to generate leads through that. So it's really hard to really articulate it unless you're on the platform. But the nice thing about TikTok, it's short form content. It's very easy to create, and you can get a lot of exposure just by following the trends that are currently going on the platform, because the algorithm favors that and promotes that content over other content.
Perfect. Love it. Ellen, how about you? Where are you getting your inspiration for your Instagram page?
I love Instagram because it's just pictures and videos, but it's theme, niche, and color. So everything is just, it's consistent for a lot of pages, and I just love consistency. So I love seeing all the colors, all the theme of somebody's page. When you go on Facebook, it's literally just like all over the place. I mean, people just post random stuff. But when you go on Instagram, it's always a theme, it's always one thing, and that's why I love it.
Awesome. And Krista, how about you? What is some inspiration for some of your posts? And
So I had grandparents that I grew up with. They always like joked with each other. They were very hardcore jokers with each other, and they liked to kind of roast each other a lot.
yeah.
And it was always really entertaining. Like nobody was hurt. Like it was just entertaining. And so like as Chip and Joanna and stuff kind of came up, they're kind of like the same way. And I kind of realized like people laughed a lot at like Luke and I, because obviously we joke about each other quite a bit. And people liked to laugh at that. So we kind of like play up a little bit what we do every day, and people just enjoy it and they connect with us through that. Married couples and stuff like that, or just people that like that people that like that kind of vibe. But that's kind of where I get the inspiration from, because like as you look on like I Love Portage, you'll notice there's actually memes on there and stuff like that. But people trust people that they feel like they can connect with and know and feel like they're similar to. So like the people in our crowds, like the mom squad, I'm a mom. So like that's one connection that we have. So I try to make people see me as a person that happens to be a realtor, because I feel that there's more success in doing it that way than like sharing all my listings. Like I think you should still share listings and things like that, but you should focus more on being authentically yourself, because that's ultimately what people connect with, and it is the only thing that actually makes you unique to everyone else, because everybody else that's a realtor sells houses and things like that. So the only way you can stand out is by being different.
I totally agree. I love
Spot
that.
on.
All right. So how many hours would you guys say in your schedule that you're dedicating per week to creating social media content? And maybe compare that to other lead gen sources. So like if you're doing cold calls or calling expireds, whatever that looks like, how many hours compared to others are you putting in your schedule for social media and creating content? Parker.
Yeah, so mine's a bit sporadic. So I schedule, this isn't necessarily just creating content, but like, so in the morning, I do a lot of, and that actually this integrates with social media, but I do circle prospecting in the morning from 9 to 11. And the people that I connect with that have really good conversations with, I go and add those people on Facebook. So I'm able to connect with people personally and not only add them to my pipeline, but add them to my social pipeline as well. But so I usually do about 2 hours every morning doing that. But my social media hour, I usually block off an hour, but that's not necessarily for content creation, more so just going on Facebook, interacting with people, going on Instagram, going through like the local Kalamazoo hashtags and geolocation tags and interacting with people in my network. So I time block that stuff, the social interaction stuff every day. And then just depending on what I have going on later in the day, usually like if I don't have any appointments or anything, I usually will spend like 3 to 5 creating content. I'm starting to do YouTube stuff now. So like recording videos and scripting videos, things of that nature. So it's difficult because you don't want to get too in the weeds. And I think what a lot of people do is they will try and substitute social media for your brick and mortar lead generation. And that's a problem because what I've learned is social media really is a long game, and you can't tangibly see results right away as in the same way that you can with other lead generation sources. So you do want to, time block that stuff and have it in your daily schedule. But a lot of people, like, there's kind of a balance where because if you really want to, like I had to narrow down to 3 platforms: Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Because if I do much more than that, I won't have any time in the day to lead generate. And that's that's really important. So you kind of have to find that balance. But I would say on a daily basis, it's probably about, if I average it out, about two to 2.5 hours a day that I spend on social media, engaging with other people and creating content.
Okay, perfect. Ellen, how about you?
Um, Sporadic. I mean, it doesn't take me long to do a post. I mean, maybe 5 to 10 minutes, if that. Um, I have my Instagram page as my professional page and not my personal. So I can look back and see the stats of who's viewed
Mhm.
my profile, the time of day. And then you can go on like the last 7 days, you can go through Monday through Saturday or Sunday, whatever you want to look at. And you can see that majority of the people clicked on your profile between 12 and 4 or 12 and 6, and every day is different. So, I mean, I just go and I post during those hours. So it's not really a major time consuming thing. Depends on what I'm posting. It could take me, if I'm editing a photo or, whatever, I could just get picky about how long that takes me. But it doesn't usually take me that long to do it. But if you really want to do, if you're not into the cold calling type of thing and you want to do your 50 contacts, just like how you do with Facebook, you can do the same with Instagram, but you go to a certain tab. It's called Places. And then you just go through, you could click Kalamazoo, and then the top photos, I wouldn't choose like the top couple ones. I would go kind of in the middle of the page. But you just pick people, and if they, not the kids or young adults, it's kind of people that you feel has, possibly could be purchasing a house in the future, and just send them a private message. And that's kind of your cold calling if you didn't want to call people. So you could do that 25 in the morning, 25 in the afternoon, and it kind of breaks up your 50 contacts for the day.
Perfect. Love it.
Love it.
Krista, how about you?
So basically what I do is I check everything from the day before on the insights that morning. I take about 10 minutes to kind of read through that, kind of like what Ellen was describing. I look at what posts perform the best and then what times everybody was kind of on. The times I kind of check actually once a week. Because sometimes like around holidays, I've noticed things change as people are like, not working and things like that. So you keep that in mind too. But I basically actually schedule my posts every night. So like a lot of the posts that I have are actually already scheduled for this week. And I will schedule my posts like for like the month. Any free time I have when I'm not prospecting, I actually am like scheduling at least one post. If I find myself like kind of standing there talking to somebody for a minute, I'm a meme hoarder. So like I have memes in my phone. So like as I scroll through Facebook doing regular activities, if I see something that makes me laugh, I save it. I mean, it's super simple to do it that way, right? So yeah, that's kind of how I go about it. I really probably spend a grand total of 20 minutes. If I'm feeling extra like awesome that day, maybe I'll sit there for an hour and schedule out even more. But the point is that I'm always way ahead at least. So if I'm having an off day, or God forbid I get coronavirus for like a week, I can actually like sit back and chill and kind of let things run from there. I know I've gotten very busy, and so it's been very challenging to remember to do that. So I have an executive assistant now who will be taking over that. So like while they'll be transaction coordinating, they'll also be doing that in their first 10 minutes every day. So they're going to kind of take over that schedule, but I'm still going to be doing it when I can do it. So it's always going to be planned like way ahead all the time. So I think it's really important to schedule things so that you don't feel like you're constantly tied to that if something were to happen.
Hey, Nikki, can I add something for a second?
Yeah.
Talking about scheduling for anybody who like is listening, if you want to schedule out posts, which I do it usually weekly or monthly for like my branding content. There's a tool called Creator Studio, and you can before you had to pay for Instagram scheduling using a different service, but now through Creator Studio on Facebook, since they merged with Instagram, they added the functionality through Creator Studio, which you can Google. It allows you to schedule out posts for both Facebook and Instagram. So you have the functionality to schedule posts out at whatever time you want to. You can do carousels, individual pictures and videos, and you can schedule all that stuff for free just through your Facebook account. So it really is really beneficial to schedule out, because you just can't, don't always have the time every single day.
Yeah.
If I could add one tool actually that I found, which I'll be implementing, because I was like, wow, it just sounded better than what I've been hearing. I know people get stuck on what to share a lot. And something I saw Tristan, and I'm probably going to butcher it, Tristan Ahumada on Lab Code Agents, he shared like this like rule of thumb he follows for like posts, and he uses the word stay. The S stands for sell, the T stands for teach, the A stands for advice, and the Y stands for you. And that's kind of like the topic or theme of each post. And he like, does one day, the next day it's T, the next day it's A, the next day it's Y. That way, like you're sprinkling in your business and you're making sure you're not going too hard there. You're sprinkling in yourself, but you're also making sure you're not going too hard there. And I think something that people forget about is giving people value, like things that they actually care about and want to learn.
100%.
Making sure that you're giving them tips too at the same time, but you're also not like swarming them with stuff that they're like, oh my gosh, I can't connect with
It's
you.
consistent. So every day they're like, oh, Monday they're going to post about this. Tuesday they
Right.
don't realize that they remember it, but they're like, oh, Ellen didn't post X on Tuesday. She always does a tip. Or Wednesday's always about a paint color. It's like that
Right.
you whatever you choose, it has to be consistent.
Right.
Yeah, well, and the cool thing about that too is like, it's not only necessarily content you can use for your social media, but like I started doing something, I recorded them all out in advance, but I do like a weekly, it's basically a real estate tip in 60 seconds or less. And so you can take that content, or let's say you have a buyer consultation or you have a prospective buyer, it's a first time buyer, you can say, hey, here's a playlist of videos to get you up to speed on some things that might help you as you're going to go about the buying process. So you can actually use the content you create to help prospective buyers that you have in your pipeline, whereas most agents are not going to have those kinds of things to share with their clients, and it really makes you stand out.
Yeah. And I think it's important too, along with, again, back to scheduling your posts, like, like me and Ellen said, like looking at that like time that people are posting, but then also being consistent that you're always posting at that time, because then you set that expectation. People know to expect a post from you at that time, like, every Wednesday or every Tuesday or, every other day even. It's okay if you post every other day or like once a week, but do it consistently enough that people know that they can go check your profile in a week and there's going to be something new.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. You guys kind of touched a little bit on my last question before we open it up for just general Q&A, but what are just tools or programs, platforms that you're using to help create content? So Parker, I know you mentioned Creator Studio.
Yeah.
What other things are you using to help generate your content?
So Creator Studio is one that I just use to schedule things out. And, really, it kind of depends on the kind of person you are. If I try to hold myself accountable to making a unique or original Instagram post every day or every other day, I generally do every other day is typically when I post, which is a lot, but it makes it a lot easier if you schedule things out. But if I try and hold myself to that every day, I just get overwhelmed. So I have to, honestly, one of my tools is a Google Doc sheet where if I come up with an idea, I will write it down, because a lot of times, like I had 2 weeks worth of posts that I had scheduled out for Instagram where I went out in a day, shot a bunch of different shots at different locations for like my branding content, and I had it all scheduled out. So now when I'm like during the week, I'll come up with an idea. So I'll write that idea down on a Google Doc sheet. So then when I'm okay, my scheduled posts are running out, and I'll include sporadic things in there as they come. But once my scheduled posts are running out, then I can run down that list of ideas that I had written down during the week or the couple weeks prior. And then I can actually go and shoot that stuff with my camera, or if it's TikTok, et cetera. So I used to use a tool called Hootsuite for scheduling, and it's like $30 a month, but Creator Studio pretty much wiped out my need for that, because they have Instagram scheduling on there directly through Facebook. So And you know, you kind of just have to be creative. And sometimes, you know, if you come up with something on a whim, you just kind of have to sometimes stop and do it right there. Otherwise you lose the idea or it just never comes to fruition.
Right. Awesome. Thank you, Parker.
Mm-hmm.
Ellen, how about you? Where are some places that you might create flyers or graphics or some of your videos?
Yeah, I do. My favorite one is Lightroom. It's a photo
Mhm.
editing thing, and it's my favorite. I love presets. And again, I like that because you choose your color, you choose your theme. It's all part of Instagram. Pinterest always has really fun pictures. So whether it's I'm thinking of something for a lot of my first home buyers follow me and they love home remodels. So just posting a fun picture on Pinterest, you know, and asking if you like this, or if you're a dark kitchen or a light kitchen, you know, whatever. It's just open content.
Yeah.
Ladies of Real Estate, I usually do for my flyers. I pick all my colors and then I have somebody just kind of, I do everything and just show them and I'm like, here you go, you can do it. And that one's $20 a month. That one's fun. It's fun and it has all the themes that I like. And it gives me a snowball off of their ideas. So that one helps a lot.
Yeah.
There's a couple others that I like to use, but I can't think of
Did
them.
you mention Canva? That's a great resource for
Love Canva.
Yeah, I used
yeah,
to
for sure.
do it on my phone. I haven't used it in a while. I used to use it all the time for marketing, but I haven't used it in a while. I don't know. Yeah, I'd say Lightroom is pretty much my top one. That's my favorite.
Awesome. Thank you. Hey, Krista, what about you? What are you using?
So Nikki knows I'm obsessed with Canva. I like it because as you like get busier and stuff, or if you're someone who's like, I'm not super creative and I don't want to try to be, Canva has a lot of templates and it's free. They do have
Tons.
and they have premium, like to use their images and videos. However, I would caution you not to do that because there's also like websites that have stock images that are royalty free, meaning you can use them on your like ads and stuff and not get sued over it. So stop going on Google and like grabbing stuff off there. But like, so like, yeah, you can grab Pexels.com. Is it Pexels.com, I think, or .org? It's one of those two. Is a great one, and Unsplash.com is another for those stock images. But Canva's just really great. They have like headers, letters. They have social media posts, like templates for every kind of social media. So they already have it pre-measured out for Instagram. They already have designs made. Like, so all you would need to do is change the wording or throw in the picture. And it saves everything there. So if you ever like what Ellen was talking about being consistent, if you had a design in there, you could keep the same design and just pop your stuff in and make sure that your stuff is consistently the same every time you post it instead of recreating something completely new.
Right. And the same color scheme, things like that. I like that.
As far as like posting, like as far as posting for Facebook, at least, Facebook has an app called Business Suite. I think it's called now. They changed the name. It's called Business Suite. And it will do all of your pages. So if you have more than one, it kind of has them all on there. It also now connects to Instagram. So I haven't really played with it yet, but I'm assuming you can kind of actually respond to comments there too. So it's kind of nice, and post from there. It's kind of nice because then you can reply or post from all in the same place and have the schedules of everything. It like has it all laid out for you of what's scheduled, what's been published, and how well they're doing and their insights and stuff like that. So it's nice because sometimes, I'll be honest, with like how many groups and pages and Instagram, like I like having it all in one spot because it's like, way better.
It's everywhere.
For me at least, because I'm already unorganized, so that doesn't help.
Yeah, me too. I feel you.
Awesome. All right, you guys, let's open it up to just general Q&A. If anyone who's on the Zoom wants to unmute and ask any questions for anybody.
I have a question, and sorry I flushed the toilet before. So typical me. Krista, what was that thing you just mentioned in Facebook? You said that you didn't, you haven't played around with it that much, but it connects all your pages and Instagram?
Yeah, so it's called Business Suite. I don't know. Can I
Okay.
read my phone? I'm sorry. This is a glass, not my actual screen. I don't use it that much. So hold on, I'm gonna pull it up. So it looks like this right there.
Okay.
It's called Business Suite. And so like this is
It's
just,
a different download completely.
yes, because
Oh, okay.
they like did it one day. Facebook was like, we're not gonna let you do pages on the actual Facebook app anymore. You have to do it here. It used to be called Pages, and then it just developed because, as you know, Facebook buys everything because they're a monster. And so like
Mhm.
now everything is in one spot, so it actually works out really well. So it just developed over time into that. So yes, now they've added an Instagram
Awesome.
option there to kind of make it all in one spot.
Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. What other questions do we have?
Hey, I don't have a question, but I wanted to just say that, like, encourage everybody if you're thinking about doing it, even like not as like one of your top like resources for lead generating and that kind of stuff. Being consistent with whatever you're planning on doing is really going to work out, because I'm having a lot of conversations with people through Facebook and that kind of stuff. And it's just from me posting things that, you know, I think are funny and that kind of stuff, or, you know, some days posting things about real estate, or, you know, if our Keller Williams Kalamazoo page shares something, you know, sharing it and that kind of stuff. But it really pays off if you just kind of stick with it and be even a little bit consistent with it. It'll really pay off. I had a post that my mom shared a few weeks ago, and I started having conversations with 3 people in Facebook Messenger just based off of that post, and they're talking about getting into the real estate market soon. So I'm talking to them about that, and I had a guy last night. I just shared a story from Instagram to my Facebook story from this page Broke Agent, which is just hilarious real estate content. I just shared a post into that, and this guy that I don't even know, I've never even met or anything like that, but we're just friends on Facebook. He messaged me and said that he's going to be buying a house soon, and he wants to sell his house and that kind of stuff. So we're having a conversation about that as well. So just being even a little bit consistent with that will really work out for you guys. But I don't really have much tips besides that, because I'm not too deep into social media, but it's working out for me so far.
That was awesome, Jeff. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, and Jeff, with that, it's
Go
you
ahead.
never want to lose focus of your audience. So that's what you have to like really sit down and think about, like, who's my audience on whatever platform you're using. And then that's you're always going to target to. It doesn't matter if they're younger, older, and they're just here and there looking and liking things here and there, but don't lose focus of the main target audience that you're actually going to be going after. That's
I
your
feel like the stuff I get the most kind of response on is stuff where I'm just genuinely me, you know, and I'm not trying to be too salesy, because I'm not salesy.
yeah.
And I'm just trying to be funny, engage people, just share funny stuff or whatever. That's the times that I get the most people kind of interacting and that kind of stuff too.
Well, and to add on to that, like, because he brought up a great point, a lot of the things that we've had success on are actually more subliminal things. Like what he shared like a meme that was from like the Broke Agent, which isn't necessarily like actively trying to advertise to anybody at all. It's just a joke that makes people laugh, but it's still like a real estate joke to some degree that people can relate to. So they know he's a realtor, but he's not like aggressively coming after them, so their guards down. So I think too, like what Jeff said, like subliminally including your job into the post somehow, not all the time, but like somehow it's in there every once in a while, sprinkled, not like thrown at people. I think that has a lot of success a lot of the time.
Yeah. Hey, Ben.
Yeah, my question, I guess, real quick, just
Hang on, Ben. Your audio is.
Jeff, my mom's my #1 fan. Awesome guy. You know, it's something that's fun, so it's easy to do. Hey, man, I love doing this, and so I spend this time doing it. But what are you guys doing to effectively track it? What is my true result of this?
That's a great question.
I guess so the it's honest, it is really hard to track it, to tell you the truth. Like when I was going through some personal stuff early in the year and wasn't really doing a whole lot, but in March things kind of turned around and I said, okay, I'm really going to invest in social media. And I was starting from, like, I had 100 followers on Instagram at the time. Now, now it's like up to 1,500 just through um, getting things to where they are by consistently doing it every day. But I feel like the challenge with social media is that you're not going to see measurable results that you can predict until you've done it for a long enough time. So like when I did stuff on social media, I wasn't getting anything for probably 6 to 7 months, but now I'm starting to get, it's very sporadic and it's not as easy to measure as something like, cold calling or FISBOs, where you need to make X number of contacts to convert. But the one thing you can do is once you start to get business, then you can start to track it, because you can you can stay on top of your sources and where people are actually coming from. So for me, like the one thing I will say is, yeah, it is really difficult to track, and it admittedly is something I probably should do a better job of. But the one thing that I definitely can add to the conversation is you can't look at your results from 1 month of really doing social media hard, because more often than not, you're not even going to start getting leads until, 4, 5, 6 months in, and then it becomes predictable, and you just build your personal brand and your social cachet along the way. And I've really seen that in my own business. I mean, I've had the best few months in my business over the last few months by far. And most of that have just been people that have come to know me through social media in a personal way. And that's why I'm getting that business that maybe I would not have gotten otherwise, even if they're people that I know. But it was because of that reputation that I've built with them just over social media, and them seeing what I have to say, that they have, now reached out to me. So, a lot of times your social media is going to result in sphere of influence leads, but you can't really know how much the sphere of influence leads are impacted by the things you're putting out on social media. So it's kind of tricky.
Yeah. I mean, in general, no matter whatever you're selling, it doesn't matter if you're selling real estate or a computer, but you always want to be the top 5 that people think of. So with Instagram, for example, having Ellen Keenan Realtor, I like a photo, I like anything, comment on something, they again correlate all that together as one. So with Facebook, if you continuously post things about real estate, they know your posts are about real estate. Everything's consistent. So I don't know how you can actually track it, Ben, but I mean, that's just, people think of you and you just always want to be the top 5. I mean, when you think of top 5 agents, who do you automatically think of? I mean, and then you have to think of what are they doing on social media that makes you think that's why they're the top 5.
And just to even add on to what Ellen's saying, so I was reading The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, and Gary Keller says that with Mindshare, like at any given time, the average person, if you ask them of a realtor they know of, they can only name 1 or 2 realtors off the top of their head, meaning that like what Ellen was saying, like they're only going to think of 1 or 2 people to recommend to a friend or to personally use themselves, and they're probably only going to interview 1 or 2 people as a result. So like Ellen said, the goal is really just to be in front of people and make sure that you pop up in their face just enough, which is why the consistency is kind of important. You're not going to get them on the first time, and you're probably not going to get them a year from now even. But it's just more to get up in people's faces than it is sometimes to even convert them. It's for that moment that they think, I need to sell my house. Who am I going to choose?
And just to add one more thing onto that as well, a lot of times what I've noticed specifically lately is, I would say this is probably a once a week thing now, where just on Facebook, on my personal page, I have people, many of whom I'm not in contact with regularly, if at all, but I happen to be friends with them, where they have somebody on their friends list that's posting looking for a realtor, and they will go and tag me in that post. So sometimes you just see an exponential reach just because people are, they know you're in real estate, they like the things that you do and have to say about real estate, or the stories that you tell, which, if you follow me, I'm one that takes a lot of time to tell my client stories, and people seem to like that. But I'd say once a week, if not more, I get tagged in those kinds of posts. So your reach becomes exponential by being engaged on social media, particularly on your personal Facebook page.
One thing I would challenge you guys to do, and Ben, this kind of touches on your tracking part of your question. If you are getting leads from any sort of social media platform and you're adding them to your actual CRM, so I'll just use Command, for example. I'm sure multiple other CRM platforms have the same thing, but with Command, when you go to add a contact, you can actually tag them, like create a custom tag. So let's say you had like a different tag for each social media platform, and that's, at the end of the year, you could pull all of your contacts that you tagged with, Instagram, for example, and see, okay, well, how many leads did I get this year from Instagram? And did they go to close? Did we get an offer? And like, what does that relationship look like now? And that could be even something you do per quarter if you feel like you're getting a lot of leads, to kind of reevaluate, okay, I got 10 leads from Instagram. I need to put more effort into Instagram moving forward. So just kind of a way, I guess, to track, but it is a little tricky if you're not like developing that relationship and not actually getting that information. But yeah, just thought I'd throw that out there.
So
No,
we
that was
actually,
good.
oh, sorry. We actually, we do track ours, and the way that we do that is when somebody comes in, we go 3 deep. So like, you know how Jeff says there's like smoke screens that people throw out, like where if you ask them a question, they're gonna be super like basic about it with the first answer. So like, they'll be like, well, I saw you on the internet, and I say, oh, cool. Like, so like, where on the internet did you see me? Was it a page? Was it a group? And then they'll be like, oh, I saw you on I Love Portage, or Portage and My Mom Squad. Now I know I'm going to use that tag. And then I'll take it a step further. Oh, what was it, like a meme or something that I like posted? Like, what was it like that you saw me on? And then sometimes they even remember the exact like post. So then I know, okay, this post had success in like making someone feel comfortable with me potentially. So that's just one way that I kind of like track that, I guess, because I do think, like Nikki said, it is important to see what posts are, I guess, are having success, or what pages and stuff like that. And if we haven't gotten it from the first conversation, once we close, I actually will ask them again when we have the admin call to do the review call to ask for reviews. They will also ask them one more time, like where they saw us from, because by then they're a lot more comfortable too, so they're not as like standoffish about it, about sharing information.
Yeah. And I think too, everybody knows right now that everybody's shopping online. So if you have an agent that is good at social media, they right now want you to work with them. If you are not on social media and you just are their old traditional like newspaper cold calling, it's great, but you also need that extra step where people get more exposure. So a lot of people that I know, they're like, oh, this person's really great with videography, or they're really good with this, and well, this agent does this, can you do that? Or I've looked on Zillow in Florida and this agent does this, and it's like, oh, well, it's not even my clientele, but I can see if I can do something similar. It's just, it is what it is. Our world is the internet. So, you have to jump and get good at the next step. And if you don't, you're behind.
Yeah.
It's something that I actually wanted to add into here too. The benefit of like going on social media and stuff is also like sharing about other businesses, because other businesses have databases and you kind of want to tap into those. And the way you build a relationship for them to show up at your events and stuff like that is by sharing when they're having deals or something like that. And sometimes they'll even promote you back on their pages. So I think it's really important too to keep in mind that you're not just trying to get people that are buying houses, you're trying to get people for your database through other businesses as well by giving them value through your platform. So like, for instance, I Love Portage, if somebody messages us, we don't charge anything for them to post their business there. We're just going to put it there and have good faith that that's going to come back around another time.
Yeah, I feel like community involvement and promoting local businesses is really big now. So the more that you're involved with other businesses, like you said, Krista, just I feel like that'll come back around to you guys, and you'll be like, oh yeah, those are the people that showed us this place that we love now. Like, you will be top of mind because you're the person that established that relationship with them.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, you guys. Before we wrap up here, is there anyone else that has any other questions? Any last thoughts, Parker, Krista, or Ellen?
The only thing I would say, I guess I didn't mention is for anybody that's just getting into social media, like I would say the number one thing is to really focus on your personal brand. I think a lot of people make the mistake of being too oriented with sharing market statistics and other things, which are important. And, you know, people that are thinking about buying or selling, they are going to be in tune with those things, but only really when they're thinking about doing that at a particular time. So the one thing I've noticed is that by branding yourself in terms of who you are as an individual, being a person like Krista said that sells real estate is really integral, because especially, you know, for the 40 and under crowd and the first time home buyer crowd, which is something I'm getting a lot of leads from, they are very compelled to work with people that they feel they already know and they feel like they've built a relationship with over social media. So I would say anybody who's just getting into it, focus more on yourself as an individual, not the product you sell. Because at the end of the day, I know we all have marketing and different things we do differently, but we all essentially do the same thing, you know, with varying degrees of you know, success and whatnot. But people are inclined to work with you because of you. And that has really been like the driving factor in everything that I do with social media. And I think if you look at the Ryan Serhants of the world, Frederick Eklunds, and any other large real estate influencer, you will see that it's about them. It's not about the product nearly as much as it is who they are. And that's like the one key thing for me.
I totally agree. Be yourself. People want to see you. They want to see what you're up to, who you're working with. So thank you for that, Parker.
I think if I left one thing, it would be probably, so two things actually. Make sure that when you do build up that influence on, like, you know, your page or whatever, or Instagram, that when you're at a listing appointment, you kind of use that to your advantage. You know, because honestly, like, you can say, like, I know this amount of people on here, so I can, you know, advertise your listing to X amount of people, and it makes people trust you when you're a community influencer, because you're in the community, they see you, they think, oh, other people, you know, see them and trust them and follow them. So that can be a benefit to you also at listing appointments. Like, for instance, I Love Portage. If we go to a Portage home and I say, have you seen I Love Portage? And they say, yes, I have. And even if they haven't, it's like, okay, well, we have 60,000 people on there and we can put your listing on there. So that can help you later. And then the only other part I would want to share, of course, is like, don't worry about perfecting it right away. Just start doing it. I mean, like, if you suck at being consistent, so be it, but at least you're doing it. The only way to do it completely wrong is like not even trying.
Yeah, agreed. Just do it. Well, I think this was an awesome call to start 2021 with. So thank you guys so much for sharing your ideas and all your information. You know, everyone is going to take all of their notes and start implementing things. So with that, let's take on this Tuesday. Yep, I had to check the day because, you know, anyways, have a great rest of your day. Thank you guys again. And this is recorded, so keep an eye out for the YouTube post.
Yeah, thanks for the idea and scheduling it, putting it all together. I think this is great.
Of course. I loved it. Thank you. Thank you. Have a great day, everybody.
See ya.
Thank you.